welcome to my first ever vlog. My name is Z, and for today's video I'll be giving you tips on how you can get around Sydney through public transport. So if you're planning your holiday anytime soon, or if you just recently migrated here, or if you're on a holiday visa, these tips will surely help you find your way. So please keep on watching! So, you might actually be wondering, what do you need in order to take these public transports? Now, the first thing you need to know is you need to get an Opal Card. Now, these Opal Card will serve as your ticket to take the train, take the bus, take the ferry. So, you can just use one card in order to take these public transports, which is really, really good if you come to think of it, So, first question is, where can you get an Opal Card? You can buy it online. You can also buy it in the news agencies, those mini convenience stores near the train stations, who they actually sell newspapers, they sell lotto tickets, they sell like stationaries and stuff. So yeah, those are what you call news agencies, and also you can purchase it in a train station. However, bear in mind that if you buy it in the airport, there's a minimum top up of $35. Topping up is you put money into the card. In the Philippines we call it load, and then plus access fee, which is I think something around $8, and on top of the actual train fare. So yeah, just one thing that you have to keep in mind. There are also different kinds of Opal Card, but the most popular one is the black one, which is the adult, and it's for 16 years old and above. For tourists or travelers, it might be difficult for you to obtain the rest, like the green, the gold, and the silver, because you'll have to show some proof like enrollment or New South Wales residency and stuff like that. But then for those who have recently migrated here, have kids, you can check your eligibility online and see how you can avail the child or youth, which is the green card. You can also check how can you be eligible for the gold card, which is for the 60 years old and above, and also for this concession. I think there are multiple criterias, but yeah, I just didn't list it down anymore. But have a look online and check if you are eligible. So you can go to opal.com.au. So for those who doesn't want to get an Opal Card, you can actually use your savings card or a credit card to tap onto those public transports. It's what you call contactless payments. You just have to make sure you have that 4 curved lines, that kind of a logo onto your card as well, to make sure that it works to tap. Some of the cards, I guess, in the other countries, they still don't have that kind of cards available onto the banks, so or readily available, so it might not work even though it's American Visa and MasterCard. I personally do not use this type of payment because it creates confusion for me. One thing I have to share to you is every time you use contactless payment, they will only charge you $1 every time you take a trip. Now, don't be excited, don't be overjoyed because they only charge you $1. It's not the case. They will charge the actual fare after a few days or so. Now, I'd rather separate my travel expenses onto my daily expenses, because I try to budget it every fortnight. So after every fortnight, I check, okay, if I still have extra money from my travel expenses, extra money from my daily expenses, and I'll see what I can do with it. So if I have extra money with my daily or my travel expenses, and then I might use it for somewhere else already, then after a few days or so, they would deduct the actual fare. So it creates confusion, but it really boils down on whatever preference you prefer, because yeah, that's my take on it. Now, the next thing I'm going to discuss to you is where you can top up your Opal Card, or where you can put money on it. First is you can top up online by going to the website opal.com.au. You can also top up your Opal Card through the Opal Travel app, which is downloadable through Google Play and Apple Store. You just have to add the card on the app, and then you top up using your credit card or savings card. Minimum top up is $10, and then the maximum top up is $60. You can also top up through the news agencies near the train stations, or in the train stations there are machines, self-service machines when you can use to top up your cards. Some machines accept cash payments, some machines accept only card payments. Now if you top up in the airport, remember again that there's a minimum of $35 top up. Now let's discuss some Opal travel tips which will help you plan your trip. The first tip that I'm going to share to you is travel all you can on Sundays for $2.80. That means you get unlimited trips on Sundays, but you only pay $2.80 the entire day. And this doesn't mean that you can only use it in trains, but you can use it to the buses as well and the ferries. The next tip is if you transfer from one ride to another ride or one trip to another trip within an hour, that simply means it's considered to be a single trip, hence you will only be charged single fare. I'll give you an example. Suppose you tap off from Central Station at 4 o'clock, then you stroll, enjoy, roam around at Central Station for about 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, you start walking, heading back to the station. Then you have to make sure, okay, you tap on again before the clock strikes 5 o'clock, and that will be considered single trip calculated fare. Hence, your next trip will be considered like as a continuous trip from your first trip when you tap off from Central Station. That should give you enough time to stroll, isn't it? Amazing! Now the third tip is after taking 8 trips, all fares within that week are 50% off. This diagram will show you how it works. So for example, first trip, you came from home to Central, roam around Central, then this doesn't include the transfers, okay? That means you spend more than an hour in that area before you take another trip from Central to home, then your third trip from home to Circular Quay, and then it goes on. So it can possibly happen in a day. It can also possibly happen within 2 days, as long as you understand that by the 9th trip within the week, Monday to Sunday, your 9th trip onwards will be half price of the actual fare. Now, since we're talking about fares, the next 2 tips that I'm going to discuss with you will be about the costs of your trips and when would be the best time for you to take the public transport, especially when you're not really in a hurry, unlike those who are working in Sydney, who is rushing during weekdays. So if you're really just traveling or tourist here, take advantage of the off-peak hours because the fares are discounted. And on the screen right now, I have attached a screenshot of the peak times from the Opal website. Okay, so Trip Planner is inside the Opal Travel app, which I already have downloaded anyway. And then it's the middle icon all the way down to the bottom. Then you input your from destination, so where you're coming from. So suppose Central Station. And then I'm planning to hit maybe Parramatta Station. Okay, so click the first one. So since today is a Saturday, it will show you the timings for today, but I need to show you the timings for maybe Monday. So we'll click onto the option departing now, then change the date, suppose Monday, and then oops, no, it's not PM, but it should be AM. Change AM. Yep, as you can see that at 7:35, if you take these trains, your fare will be $5.15. Now if we move it to about 9 o'clock, will it vary? Yep, so it does change to $3.60 for that trip. How about if we go in the middle, maybe right before 9 a.m, 8:45, it's still $5.15. It does really help you plan ahead and budget your travel expenses, even when you're on vacation and even when you're working here. At least you would know. So the last Opal travel tip that I will be telling you is to register your Opal card under your name. Now this is not really necessary when you're just traveling here, but if you're living here, staying in Sydney and using it as your daily ticket, taking the public transports is better. Because for me, I lost my Opal card once and I usually top up a week ahead or 2 weeks ahead. Now there's still some amount of money left into that card. Now what I did is I log into my Opal travel app. I put the amount on hold until I purchased a new card, and then once I did, I moved or transferred that fund or that load onto my new card, which is really super easy. And you can do it on your own. You don't need to really report it, or you don't need to call Opal and to do it for you, but you can do it on your own, which is really convenient. So there you have it for my Opal travel tips for you guys. I hope it will really help you. And on to the next topic, we will be discussing Google Maps. Google Maps is the app that I use to know the directions for me to go from one place to another. Google Maps also provides directions for those who are driving, taking the public transport, even the bicycle path. It also shows you the flights and sometimes the ferry rides when applicable. You can download this app on the App Store and also on Google Play. The app is this icon with a G at the upper left. And for today's tutorial, I will use an example, the recent trip we had to one of the burger joints here in Australia. It is called Burger Point and the location is in Wentworth Point. So let's go ahead and type in the search bar. Then you click onto directions on the bottom left. And then it will take it to a page where it will show you a lot of options to pick which route to take. And as I will be commuting, I chose the train symbol at the top and will pick the shortest possible option. But let's differentiate it first. The first option shows two blue B signs, meaning to say you will need to take two buses. That's bus 415 and bus 526. And in between those buses, there is an icon of a person and number beside it, meaning you will have to walk 3 minutes from where you'll alight from the first bus going to the next bus stop. Total travel time for this option is 1 hour and 5 minutes. Now let's go to the second option. Second option is an orange T sign, which means you'll have to take a train. Then it says to take an Uber for about 11 minutes. This is way shorter than our first option, but you need to spend more dollars for an Uber ride. So not a good option, especially for going to travel on a Sunday. Your all-day fare should be just $2.80, right? Anyway, so third option is a bus 415, then take a train and then walk for 50 minutes. Now that's a total time of 1 hour only. This is 5 minutes less than our first option, but I will only take this if I'm willing to practice my walking skills for 15 minutes. Now there's more to it, but I've already made a decision, and let's take the first option. Okay, so from my location, I have to walk towards the bus stop, Burwood Road, opposite Belmore Station, to take the bus 415. Then I would have to alight at Strathville Station, Albert Road, Stand G. I'll have to walk 3 minutes to get to Strathville Station, Everton Road, Stand B. Then take another bus from there to reach my destination. And this is what we will now use in the next app that you will need. It is called TripView. And it is an orange colored app which is downloadable through Google Play and App Store as well. TripView is what we will use to know the timetable for our next trip. It will also show you a real-time location of the buses, thus you'll be able to track its arrival. TripView also shows how long you'll have to wait for each time you'll have to transfer. Now let's get started. Once you open the app, it will show you your saved trips. Now one fact is, paid version of this app shows your saved trips, while unpaid version of this app does not. So that's every time you go out of the app, whatever trip you have entered, it will disappear. So if you're like me, you always need to go back and forth with Google Maps to check if I'm walking to the right direction, then go back to TripView and check what time is my next bus, you better be buying the app, otherwise you go crazy, entering the details over and over again. The plus sign on the upper right side will allow you to add a trip. And the first one says by station. That is the button you click when you're traveling via Sydney trains. The next three options are for Sydney buses. They use by route if you're using the bus numbers. For example, for this tutorial I've shown earlier bus 415 and bus 526. Next one is you'll use the suburb if you're excellent with the suburb locations, but I don't use this. It's harder than I thought, so I'm not recommending this. And lastly is by stop, which means the bus stops addresses. So you can also use by wharf,
and regional coaches are for long trips such as Central to Melbourne,
and so on. So since today we will use 2 buses, I always prefer to use Sydney buses by stop, and in this tutorial that's what we're going to use. But first, let's pull up our cheat sheet. Let's go ahead and type Burwood Road opposite Belmore Station. Then to destination Strathfield Station, Albert Road, Stand G. Then add another trip
by clicking on extend trip, because remember we need to take 2 buses. So click extend trip, then again click on by stop, and then we have to type in Strathfield Station, Everton Road, Stand B. Okay, and then just put in the final destination.
So there you have it. Belmore to Strathfield is you have to take the bus 415. Then Strathfield to Sydney Olympic Park is the bus 526. Okay, so at the bottom of your trip view, once you've hit save, you'll see the most recently added trip, which is this one, Belmore to Sydney Olympic Park. So the times on the left hand side, which is in the blue column, meaning the frequency of the buses that come. So 60 minutes is the next bus until the next bus comes, and then the next one after that will be in the next 76 minutes, and so on and so forth. So we can take, say for example, the 16 minutes one. If you click on that, you'll see 2 trips, which is, or 2 buses that you have to take. So like I said, the times on the left side will be the time that the next bus will come. So in this scenario, it will be arriving in the next 15 minutes. That's for the first bus. Then for the second bus, you'll have to wait 26 minutes until it arrives. And the next tip that I'll be giving you is if you click onto the up down arrow here on the right hand side, you'll see the bus before and after that bus that you're currently looking. For example, you have arrived earlier than 6:44 in your first trip, right? So, and then of course you will try to see if there's a bus that comes in before 7:10, so at least you can rush and you can take that one before. So if you click onto the up arrow on the right hand side on the second trip, which is the second bus, you'll see you can take a bus that comes in at 6:40 p.m. That's the trick. And then if you run late, because sometimes the buses runs late as well, you can click onto the down arrow, which means you can take the next bus. The next bus will be coming in at 7:55 p.m. So that's how you play around with it. And then the next tip that I'll be teaching you, say for example, you want to track where is your bus. So for example, this first trip, you want to know where is your bus. If you click on that, again, if you click on that, you'll see that the circle that has 415, that's the bus number, right? And you can see he's still in this street. Yeah, and then if you click onto this arrow on the right side, it will show you where you are. So that means if you zoom out, your bus is still there, and it will take a few more stops until it reaches your stop. So that's how you track it. It actually moves. And be really helpful. Like say you don't know where you're going to stop or where's your bus stop, then you can track where you're going. And then say for example, for this trip, I need to alight at Strathfield Stanchi, right? So if you click on this, and if you go all the way down, the one that's bold, it's not really clear, but the one that's bold like this one, that means that's your bus stop. So if you if the bus like the big circle 415 is nearly there, you can already press the bus stop button, so that you can already signal the bus driver that you were going to alight at the next stop. This is really, really handy, especially if you're not really familiar with your bus stops, or
the ways where to go to, which is really good. The next tip that I'll be giving you is if you go back, so we're back to the page wherein you can see the buses or the trips that will be coming to from your actual or starting point or start destination. If you press onto this 2 square boxes on the bottom right, if you press once, it will show you where it's where's the direction of your bus from Belmore to Olympic Park is via Stratfield. But then if there's another available route, it will show it there. So say via Stratfield or via Central, or and so on and so forth. And then if you click one more, if you press one more into that 2 squares at the bottom right, it will show you how long is the duration of the trip. So as you can see, the 627 will take you at least 69 minutes to reach your destination. The second one is 51 minutes, and so on and so forth. In here, you can easily plan ahead, like if you're not really in a hurry, and if you want to just take the shortest trip, then you can wait until the 45 minutes one, which is at 5:34 a.m., which is next day. But then it's a holiday today, that's why it's not really that frequent, but it doesn't usually stop at around 7 o'clock. Buses, some of the buses run until like late night, but you have to be really careful because some of the buses also stop their trip early, so like this one, 7 p.m. Okay, so there you have it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you on my next vlog. Bye.